So let me discuss a little bit about my thought on this intellectual versus auralectual concept. Now we can break down very specifically, and we're going to do that throughout this course in an intellectual way. We can analyze chord progressions and note choices with those chords that, it's very academic. There's chord tone versus non-chord tone, and playing certain scalar notes over certain chords and how that can constitute being a melody. And there's lots of great information that we're going to get into in that regard. So that's the intellectual side. And that's stuff that can be taken in visually as well as orally. Now, the Auralec side of it is, I'm really convinced that we learn very differently through our ears and our eyes, right? And music certainly is first and foremost an oral experience. Certainly with the advent of MTV and et cetera, there's visual aspects as well, but it's something to be taken in through our ears, and that's how we really internalize it best, and that's how we really feel the emotion of the particular music happening at the time. So the Auralec that I'm talking about is the ear's instinct that has developed over time, and I believe that's guided through everything that you've kind of taken in through your ears. I consider that there's kind of a library in the back of whatever the mind of the ear may be called. This is stuff I haven't seen in any textbooks. I'm just kind of trying to conceptualize and communicate to you how I've kind of developed this. And it's this library of ideas that we collect throughout our lives, that the music that has connected with us, that has made us feel something. That all gets stored, I think, and when we're improvising or we're composing, I believe we're drawing upon some of those experiences as our benchmark of kind of what we'd like to hear. I feel as the player or the composer, we're trying to create what we really want to hear. It's essentially, initially a very selfish thing, and obviously you're hoping to reach other people, but first and foremost, we have to be honest with ourselves. What's going to make us feel a certain thing? What's going to help us convey how we're feeling, right? And so we're drawing on that Auralec, that experience of what has moved us and what we love, what we want to hear. And so throughout our lives, and as we journey on through the process of learning the guitar, I think we're trying to connect those two things. And I think when I'm playing my best, I'm not using my intellect, I'm using my Auralec, in that I'm drawing upon those experiences. I'm not really thinking about it. I can stop and think and tell you theoretically what's going on. I have that kind of knowledge of the fretboard and music and theory and all that I've studied, that I can explain to you specifically what's going on. But in the moment when things are really great, I'm not thinking about that at all, but I'm hearing it, and that's the Auralec. My ear is guiding me from one note to the next. What do I want to hear? If I'm playing that G minor chord and I'm playing a C, that note wants to. I immediately hear it going somewhere, and that's a melody. That's that getting from point A to point B, and it could be one note. A melody doesn't have to be a million notes. It could just be, John Lennon was brilliant at having a one-note melody, changing the harmony underneath of it. I believe I remember hearing an early run-through of Lucy in the Sky, and he was singing, "Picture yourself in a boat on a river." I think Paul had a little influence with getting him to ebb and flow with that melody. So it doesn't have to be complicated. Melody doesn't have to be, especially clever. It can just be simple, and sometimes that's the beauty, And so that Auralec is what guides that instinct. Do I need just the one note? Do I need some kind of more, dynamic range? And as I've always said in earlier courses, the strength of the ear is one of the most important things. And we're going to do some ear training exercises later in this course too, because as much as you may be learning visually, which is so valuable, and I do it too, I love watching all these videos. I wish I had more time to watch all the TrueFire videos. There's so many amazing courses out there, and it's so helpful to watch the player demonstrate. But really, what's going to develop your Auralec is separating yourself from the visual and really developing the aural, and that's through ear training, and really learning how to internalize these melodies.